This is Lily with MMA-in-ASIA. How are you, Vaughn?
Hey, how you doing, Lily?
How did it feel when you got the phone call?
Well, I can remember I was talking with Bellator last year, and they said, wow, you know, we haven't heard about you at all. You know, you have an amazing record, a lot of finishes and a lot of wins, and it's unfortunate that this season has already been filled, and I sort of forgot about them, and then yeah, a few months ago, it's out of the blue, they contacted me again, and they're like, hey, you still want to fight in Bellator? Sure, why not? And boom, I'm in the tournament. Yeah, I was pretty excited. You know, I've been fighting in Asia, and I'm happy with my accomplishments here, but I want to go international, and I would like to fight in North America. So this is cool. I was really excited. I thought I was gonna run out of my house and climb a tree or something. I have a lot of time to prepare, and of course, in Xi'an, where I'm based, the training is awesome. The fighters are awesome, and there's tons of them. The resources are all there. We have a physiotherapist and stuff like that. So, you know, we have a lot of advantages being where we are compared to athletes outside of China. Yeah.
Do you have a lot of guys your weight that you've been able to train with?
It's funny. The northern Chinese guys, usually they are below 70 kilos or below, or like 93 kilos and above. The 84 kilo division and 77 kilo division is welterweight and middleweight. There's less of those guys training MMA in China, which is strange. But I get a lot of tough guys that are a bit smaller than me, and I get a lot of good guys that are bigger, a lot bigger than me too. So there's diversity. You need to train with all those guys. Yeah. Right now, I'm sort of largely responsible for the MMA success at our team, and the team is a very, very successful Sanda team already, right? So if I join this team and these guys fail, it's obviously my fault, right? So there's a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility to make sure that these guys are the best team, and that's why I put so much effort into making sure that they and myself are the best in the country. And so far I've been able well, we have been able to do that as a group, me and the other coaches. But yeah, like full-on ground and pound training and stuff like that with no headgear or anything like that, yeah, that's something probably most teams don't do. I know London Shoot Fighters does it, but a lot of guys don't. Yeah, a lot of guys don't like to walk around. They don't like to walk around town with black eyes and cuts under their face and stuff like that. And Xi'an is the kind of city where that's totally cool.
You've been pretty much in Asia, all around Asia, Taiwan, China. You've been through Thailand and Philippines a little bit. So you've been based over in Asia since sort of MMA started developing here, like back with Art of War, when you fought in Art of War. Mm-hmm. What do you think about it from then to now?
Well, I still remember, yeah, my first MMA fight was in Taiwan, TFKC. It was their second show, and it was just on mats in front of a department store. And nobody knew what they were doing. The referee didn't know the rules, and some of the fighters didn't. Like, you could see, you know, guys would get taken down and soccer kicked, and they had no idea that was, you know, part of the rules or whatever, right? And yeah, I can remember in one event it started raining, and they just kept the fights going, like on the slippery mats. It was a real mess. But it, you know, it was raw, and the people enjoyed it, and without that we wouldn't have started that movement, right? And now it's huge. Like, you have all these promotions giving away tons of money and belts, and international fighters, and arenas are filling up and stuff like that. And that happened in a really short space of time. Well, outside of Japan and Korea, I have seen almost all of the MMA develop, and had something either as a fan or involved with it directly as coach, commentator, fighter, or whatever, right? So yeah, that's not a long period of time for such growth, right? So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, you've been involved with Legend as the commentator, and then of course based in China, you've seen other organizations grow up in there, like we said, Art of War, and now Rough is the one that's getting national and international exposure. But there are lots and lots of other shows, like Xi'an, you guys put one on, and then there's been Ultimate Wrestling, quite a few other ones. Can you kind of share a little bit about the MMA scene that's in China now for people that can't climb, like they say, the Great Firewall?
Yeah, well, yeah, so it's hard for even people you have to sort of really be into MMA to follow the Chinese MMA scene entirely. There are shows popping up all over the place, and you know, one guy that knows a lot more about this kind of stuff is Wang Sai. You know, he'll be in places like Hubei, and you're thinking, Hubei, what? Like, can you even find it on a map? Even people that live in China, that it's not well known for much. But Wang Sai has gone to Hubei, fought a guy that they flew in from the States, won a bunch of money and a belt, and the stadium was packed. And then they've never done another show, right? And there's a lot of of course there's a lot of interest in martial arts and combat sports and sports in general in China. You know, Chinese people are really into sports, whether it's Olympic sports or any other NBA and stuff like that as well. So there are a lot of sports fans. There's tons of money in China. Society and government respect and support athletes. And yeah, they have the martial arts sort of background there, right? The history is there. Maybe most importantly is the you know, truckloads of extra money that's in China these days. If you're asking for my advice for foreigners coming to China for these fights, make absolutely sure you know the rules. It's hardly ever unified rules, and even after you know the rules, watch first the first few fights to make sure that the rules are being enforced. Yeah.
Why do you stay in China?
My network is here in Asia. So that's one important reason for staying. Another reason is I think that China is the best place for athletes to live, right? The government respects and supports us, society respects and supports us, and that's different than even other Chinese places like Singapore and Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan. They don't have the same support as mainland Chinese athletes do, and that's why mainland Chinese athletes kick so much ass in Olympic sports and whatever, right? Because they have the support. And although I'm not Chinese, I benefit from that as well, just being there, right? They're not gonna make special exceptions for me, right? I get it too. And I like life in China. You know, I've been there almost my entire adult life, and it's doesn't feel like home, but I'm comfortable there for sure. Yeah.
Tell me about your upcoming fight.
I will fight War Machine, and I'm not sure who I fight after that. But he is my first opponent in the tournament, and then. Yeah.
One thing I want to ask you about, your opponent has a lot of controversy surrounding him. Like, he's got this bad boy image, and you're coming out of kind of a polar opposite from me knowing you and training in Asia, and you're training with a bunch of guys who pretty much like dedicate their life because it's part of you know, the country's system of taking care of athletes, and you give your life to this sport. So how do you think like your whole philosophical background differs from his?
Well, I guess most importantly is that I believe that I am a fighter, and I don't believe that War Machine is. You know, fighting is about, you know, self-respect and self-confidence, discipline, and all these things, and he has none of that. There is a lot of energy surrounding this guy. A lot of people pay attention to him, but it's not it doesn't mean that they like him, right? It's like, you know, it's like the bearded lady at the circus or whatever, right? It's like this guy, he's like a porn star jailbird, you know. And that's interesting to watch, right? People are like, hey, look at this crazy guy's in the ring. He's fighting, but I think he's been spoon-fed a lot of easy fights. And if you watch his fights, he fights always the same way, right? Yeah, he's not very scientific. It's a lot of brawling, a lot of strength, and his opponents so far have not really impressed me. He's won a few fights, but I'm not so impressed with the way that he fights. I do expect to win. I don't know, like some of the things that he says really puzzle me. Like, he talks about the war gods this, the war gods that, the war gods, they like balls and they like hard and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, man, you know, like, is that what martial arts is all about, right? Like, You're gonna live like this, do dumb things. You know, like, you know, let your family down, disappoint your coaches and training partners. You know, break your ex-wife's heart and all this stuff. And he does these dumb things like gets in fights on TV or beats people up at parties and stuff. And if you ask him, you know, are you sorry you let people down? He'll say, yeah, I'm sorry. But if you bring up the, you know, the event that causes it, right? You know, he's on Twitter talking about, yeah, the War Machine came out again. You know, I beat these dudes up at a party. I'm going back to jail, and he sounds like he's proud of it, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, he believes in these war gods, you know, and I'm thinking, you think you're gonna live your life like this, and the war gods are gonna reward you with an upset over me? It's just crazy thinking, man. I don't know. We'll see. You know, you can't be overconfident or underestimate people. You have to train really, really hard, and just as if I was training for a more threatening opponent.
So you don't see him as threatening?
I expect to win quickly. Yes. No, I don't think he's a threat. I just think that I take the position, you know, I think I take this job, the responsibilities of being a fighter, a lot more seriously than he does. Well, the most important thing, I think, and I've said this before in other interviews, is you have to remember the other people that get you where you are, right? If you are selfish and think it's all about you, yeah, the light is shining on you. You're the one who gets your hand raised. You know, they give you the check and everything like that. But you know, there's a lot of people involved and a lot of people that you need to be thankful for, and you know, you need to appreciate the things that they've done for you. All the people behind the scenes, all your training partners that have bled for you, helping you get ready, your coaches that have thought things through and helped you win, you know, and all the other people that play smaller roles in your success. You know, you have to keep them in mind when you're fighting, right? And when you're living your life in general, right? You can't just go around doing crazy stuff and letting them down, and you know, and that is a big difference, right? It's not like I have a squeaky clean past myself, but since I've become a fighter, right? You're supposed to, I think you're supposed to, if you don't change when you become a fighter and you don't see this, something's wrong, right? Yeah.
Who do you think's the toughest in it?
You know, I'm focusing now on War Machine, and
okay.
You know, once that's taken care of, I will look further than him.
What would you say your strengths are? There's going to be a lot of people looking for tapes of you right now, but some of them might be a little bit hard to come by.
Yeah, some of my best fights are hidden, right? And you know, there's also people that they can't search for my fights if they only use my English name as well. But it doesn't matter. If you watch my fights, you'll see that they're quite a bit different, right? Mm-hmm. You know, some end in submission, some end standing, and I have had the luxury of fighting a lot of guys with different styles, right? So, you know, you train all your fights thinking that they're going to fight the way War Machine does, right? But not everyone does, right? That's just what you're hoping for. Fighting in different promotions, like in Asia, with these different rules, and fighting fighters from different backgrounds and stuff like that, it's given me, I believe, it's given me, it's helped develop the way that I fight, so I can fight fights differently, and I can sort of adjust and adapt to different fighters. I guess if you ask what my strength is, I will probably say that whatever you do well, I will be able to find something that I do better than you. Right? I don't think I've had that problem yet. Yeah, sure, there's definitely better wrestlers than me in this world, right? And you know, I fought guys that are better wrestlers than me, and I beat them, right? They're definitely better strikers than me, and I've beat them, right? You just have to, and I also believe that even if I don't know what you're better than me at, I'm gonna survive long enough to figure it out and then beat you, right? And so far, I've done well.
And you fought a lot of guys bigger than you too.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking about that recently. I think Royce Gracie has the best record for open weight fighting in the world, so it's probably not me, but I have definitely a good record in the world rankings probably for open weight fights or fights outside my weight. I'm a welterweight and I'm undefeated at that weight class, but I have fought also, I fought guys that are like 130 kilos. I've won I've won an open weight tournament, and I've won a heavyweight tournament, which in fact was also an open weight tournament because some of the heavyweights dropped out and they replaced them with these huge dudes. And I fought a lot at 84. I have one loss, and that was at 84 kilos. And of course, kickboxing, when I fought in K1 as well, I have a knockout win, a first round knockout win over like a 90 kilo guy, Jun Ito, a Japanese fighter, and I've also fought 105 kilo Alexander Pushnikov, but yeah, I lost that fight. But I gave up 25 kilos for that fight. Yeah.
Okay, well, congratulations. And it's a pretty big signing for you. I'm glad that it happened for you in your career, and I really look forward to watching you going all the way.
Thank you very much.